All right, we're going to open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One now. All right. Next order of business is the roll call vote of the zoning board.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for interrupting.
Okay.
Our court reporter isn't here yet. I know I confirmed with her today for 7 o'clock, so she might be running a couple minutes late.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were having one. We put up a tape recorder. Okay. Okay.
We'll just ask everybody to turn on their microphones using
Yeah,
the button.
everybody
the button on
please
the microphone, please.
turn off their, turn them off now. We'll have to wait for a court recorder. I'm not here yet. Sorry about the delay, but we have to wait on the court recorder, the stenographer. I don't like them to be late. Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Okay.
No
Let us
problem.
know when you're ready. You can get started. You want to sit over there? Yeah.
Maybe on the board, need another copy of the exhibits for this application.
I got hold on. Is there any other thing that wasn't in the packet?
No, everything is here.
Okay.
Is there, I don't know if there's anything I don't have.
Here's a copy of the application.
All right.
Everybody turn the mics back on. And the only thing that we did, I didn't get your name, but the only thing that we did was have the Pledge of Allegiance, and now I'm ready to go to the roll call of the, the board here. All right? Okay. Michelle Hartel?
317 Harrison Avenue, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania.
Eric Gantz, 123 West Berkeley Avenue, Clifton Heights, PA.
Mike Humphreys, 35 Arch Street, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania.
Joseph Lombardo, 33 West Baltimore Pike, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania.
Jennifer Trout, 213 North Oak Avenue, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Next order of business, I'm going to introduce our borough's zoning hearing board solicitor, and that is Kate Mann. And she's going to go over the, the ins and outs of the first application.
Yes, good evening. My name is Kate Meehan. I'm here as the conflict counsel. We are here this evening first on the application of 301 Hari LLC. The property is located at 301 West Baltimore Pike in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, 19018. The application reads, in connection with the beer and beverage store use of the property in the C2 Commercial District, applicant requests variances from Borough Zoning Ordinance Section 340-61.c and 340-59.a to permit first two building signs on 54 square foot and 48 square foot respectively on separate sides of the building, and second, one freestanding sign which includes changing or animated screen. The proposed signage does not comply with 340-61.c, which first limits total area of all business signs placed on any premises to 30 square feet, and two, requires all such signs to front on a street, and three, limits the total area of any freestanding sign to 30 square feet, or it also does not comply with 340-59.a1, which prohibits spinning, twirling, rotating, or any other animated signs. At this time, I would like to place into evidence a copy of the application, which includes the 2-page application, photos of the proposed use, 2 photos of the proposed use, the deed for the property, and also attached is the August 20th, 2024 decision by the zoning code officer. That's 2 pages, along with the application, the original application dated July 22nd of 2024. I'd also like to place into evidence photographs of the proof of posting, which is a single page with 2 sides of pictures of the property with the posted notice on it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, and a copy of the notice of tonight's hearing.
Okay.
Put those items into evidence.
All right. Anything else?
Not at this time.
All right. Okay, we'll let the applicant present their case.
Yes, it should turn green.
Yeah. My name is John J. McCreasy III. I'm the attorney for the applicant, 301 Harry Inc. You have the pictures there. You see what they want to do.
Yes.
Back in '22, they filed their own application, at which time they were given permission to use a freestanding sign. So, other than the fact that now they want to make it LED, that LED lights. That's the only difference with the freestanding sign. The other, I was talking to Mr. McLean. The other, they want a sign on the front facing the street and a sign on the side, as you can see. Both of them are over 30 square feet. We'll agree with the township that we would make the one on the front 30 square feet, and the one on the side 30 square feet if you give us both. If not, we'll just take the one on the front. I can put up Mrs. Sunil Patel, is here with me. Come on up here. You raise your right hand, and it's going to swear you in.
Do you swear affirm this testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? State and swear your name, please.
Sonal Patel, SONAL PATEL.
Now, you're the owner of the LLC 301 Harry Inc., right?
Yes,
And that Harry Inc. owns that, like a strip shopping center, I guess you would call it.
yes,
And all those stores are individual, correct?
yes.
They are they on individual deeds or one deed?
The store are, the owners are separate, the property has one deed, but
Property.
the tenants are different.
Tenants are different. Now, who runs and owns the beer store?
I run the beer.
You run the beer store. The others are rented out to other
Yeah,
people,
another
correct?
tenant.
Back in 22, you did, like I said, go in and get a variance for the one sign and the freestanding, correct?
Yes.
The zoning board, Mr. McBlain and I talked, and the township is not particularly happy with the fact that we're putting up too many signs in the town.
Can I say something?
Well, okay, we will in a second. First of all, we gotta get them on our side. All right. So they're not too happy with us putting up too many signs. They're afraid maybe it'll get a little junky looking. But that's not your impression of what you want to do, is that correct?
Yeah, I
No. How long have you been there in that store?
know.
That premises?
About 2 years.
2 years. And you rent out these stores and you provide employment for people, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
And you pay taxes. How much is real estate
The
tax?
real estate tax is last year is $49,000. The school tax is almost $35,000.
And why do you, tell the board, like you told me, why do you think you need those signs?
Okay, I've been there for almost like 4 or 5 years. Within 4 years, there is a 3 tenant left. The first tenant is Payless, they don't survive, they left. The second tenant is Dollar Store, she don't survive, she left. Because without the sign, we can't promote our business. I've been there for 2 years, and people don't know who's traveling on Baltimore Avenue or who's traveling on Springfield Road.
Go slower now.
Okay, the people driving on Baltimore Avenue and the people driving on Springfield Road, they don't even know there is a beer store.
Right.
So
And the reason is that you told me because it sits up on the hill.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
And the road's down below.
Because-
And people don't really look up like that when they're driving, is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
And that's why you think you need a sign,
Yes.
because that's more at eye level.
Yeah.
Okay. We made our case, now we gotta help you.
Okay. All right. Is there any questions from the zoning board to the applicant?
I have a question. The digital sign that you are proposing, is that for all of the businesses in the strip there?
No,
Or just the beer
I'm sorry, if
store?
you look at it, it's the black part up top.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I understand.
Oh,
Mr.
you're, I'm
Bruce.
sorry.
What I'm asking is that part of the sign going to be for all 4 or 5 businesses in there or just the beer store?
All five. The individual sign, the pole,
No, he means.
The digital-
I misunderstood too.
Okay.
The black thing there, which is gonna be the LED,
that's for only.
is it only for the beer?
Only for the beer store.
Okay,
We can put the promotion in there.
Okay.
thank you.
So the thing is with this black part that you have, you could run all your specials that you're having and eliminate the signage inside your store, clear that out. And if you have a special running that week or that day or anything, it could go digital. As a few things in Clifton Heights, I think that we're aware of is like the Firehouse has a digital, Goff's has the digital.
Cops is not in Clifton Heights.
Right,
Oh, okay.
but there are, and so therefore, it would only be on that part of the signage.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any signage in the windows.
Right, we're eliminating that.
Right, right.
And if you go digital, it would be in that black spot on the signage along Baltimore Pike.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any more questions?
Wait, another thing is, on the side of this, are you proposing that you have additional signage, right there where it says beer store?
You have one on the side and one on the front.
Okay, but I think the first, so,
This side and this side.
right,
Yes.
but originally,
We already have that.
we said yes.
Yes.
Okay,
You did.
so now you're asking for 3 new spots, 1, 2, and the one on
Well,
the
the
Pike.
freestanding,
Freestanding, yeah.
that was allowed, the freestanding, it
Correct.
wasn't allowed to be LED.
Oh, okay.
Not the digital.
Okay,
It was non-digital.
all right.
Is there any more questions from the zoning board, the applicants? All right, being none, it's, do you have anything else to say before I
No,
let the borough talk?
thank you.
Okay. All right,
Want to turn this on?
are you gonna use? All right, now the borough can go and present their case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am John McLean. I'm the solicitor for the Borough of Clifton Heights. We do wish to exercise our right for party status in this matter, and the borough does come today in opposition to what is proposed. I would want to ask Mr. Gould, our zoning officer, several questions, if I may be permitted. Mr. Gould, yeah, we'll swear him.
Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Gould, do you have, are you familiar that the signage for this business and the other businesses at the premises were the subject of a 2022 zoning hearing?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you have a copy of the decision in your file there?
I don't have it in this file, but I do have it in the office.
You can put your authority.
Thank you, Kate, if you could take one, pass it down.
Mr. Gould, I've handed you a document which will ask to be marked as Borough Exhibit Number 1. And if you could you identify what that document is?
Yes, this is decision number 2022-3 of the Clifton Heights Zoning Hearing Board, dated October 12th, 2022, for variance granted to permit the following 2 new signs at the property. 145 square foot illuminated channel letter sign for the Craft Beer World business to be placed on the peak at the corner of the building facing the intersection of Oak Avenue and Baltimore Pike. And 136 square foot monument sign identifying the various businesses of the property. Such sign shall be located in the grounds of the property in proximity to the intersection of Baltimore Pike and Air Avenue, with the precise location the same being determined by the borough engineer and code department in order to minimize any interference with the required site triangle for such intersection.
And do you recall that you were present at the time of that zoning hearing?
Yes, I was.
And do you also recall that at that time, we actually took a break and spoke with the owner of the property and reached a settlement or a stipulation?
Correct.
That we presented to the zoning board and recommended as the relief to be granted?
Correct.
Okay. And is that in fact the relief that the zoning hearing board did agree to grant?
It was, yes.
So in that situation, in 2022, the applicant was asking for the same thing. They wanted signage both on the facade on the Baltimore Avenue side and the Oak Avenue side of the building, correct?
Correct.
And they also wanted signage in, I'll call it the crown at the corner, that sort of irregularly shaped upside down home plate shaped part of the building. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is it correct that the zoning ordinance has a maximum of 30 square feet of signage per the whole premises?
Correct.
So in actuality, all the signs for this premises would have to fit within 30 square feet.
Without a variance, that is correct.
So here, the stipulation that we agreed to and which the board granted was that on the upside down home plate, the Delco craft beer could be 45 feet rather than the 30 feet,
Correct.
50% larger than what the ordinance allows.
That's correct.
Now, you have a picture that's up there. The Pennsylvania lottery symbol that's on top of that wasn't permitted as part of the stipulation in the zoning order, was it?
Not to my recollection.
So that came up afterwards, right?
Correct.
And we can't see it here, but there's a concrete wall on the Oak Avenue side of the property where they've put up additional signage. See where those blue dumpsters are?
Correct. There was signage there and on some ice coolers in this area.
And there's still a Pennsylvania lottery signage that's hanging on that wall that's not permitted.
Correct.
And the other businesses that are in that premises, isn't it correct that that many, if not most of those signs are in excess of the 30 square feet that are required or permitted?
About half of them are, correct.
So about half of the other signs are larger than what's permitted. And the sign that exists now as a result of an agreement was larger than what was permitted. But on top of that, we have additional signage that was put there for the lottery.
Correct.
And I'll just ask, in general, has the borough experienced issues or problems with excess signage of late?
We have in general, yes.
And have we taken enforcement action against businesses to reduce the amount of signage that is not permitted?
Yes, correct.
In fact, this was one of those properties where there was a lot of signage that was placed in the windows, in the walls and whatnot facing out.
Correct.
And we see a little bit of it there in these pictures.
Right. Now, since then, a notice was left, as it was with about 75% of our businesses. We're working to get to all of our businesses to enforce the sign ordinance, the sign provisions in the zoning code. Since this picture was taken, those signs have been removed after notice was left with the owner.
And the property owner did comply.
Correct.
Right. And in terms of other businesses in town, again, have we permitted or freely permitted any animated or flashing or LED signs?
Not to my knowledge.
In fact, I think that it was mentioned in regards to the fire company. In fact, the fire company was able to prove a variance before this board and obtain zoning relief. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's all I have, I think.
Okay. Any questions from the panel to the borough?
I have a question.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yes,
Ready to go?
No problem.
Okay, Joe,
Aye.
we're gonna ask.
I have a question for Mr. Gould. With the proposed signage that they're applying for now, what would the total square footage be?
That might be a question better suited for the applicant. Do you have that on top of your head, the total amount of signage proposed?
So each of the signs on the building are 30 square feet, correct? No, they're not.
I think if you indicate that the sign on Baltimore Pike is proposed to be 54 square feet.
Oh, the numbers are on there. Okay. And then
the Oak Avenue side's 48 square
48.
feet, and then the existing is 45 square feet.
Right. So
Mr.
it's
McLean,
another 150 square feet roughly of additional signage.
The additional signage, John, correct me if I'm not doing my Bonner math right here, but I think it's 102 square feet.
What, looking at this,
They're permitted 30 in total.
Right, they have 45.
Correct.
And put the 45 over here. You got 54, you have 48, and then what's the size of the digital sign?
This,
I did the figuring myself.
It's hard to figure that out. It's like 5 by 6.
49 square feet, not counting the poles.
It's it's an additional 150 square feet
49 square.
of signage.
yes.
yes.
On
Mr.
top of I'm sorry, Michelle, on top of the 45 they already have. So now they went to 200, 195 square feet, plus the lottery signs.
Yes, and I get, let me, if I may, Mr. Chairman, let me follow up, Mr. Gould, just to clarify too. The zoning, the 2022 zoning hearing allowed for the erection of what they call a pylon sign or a freestanding sign, correct?
correct.
And our ordinance has restrictions or has dimensional requirements for freestanding signs, correct?
Correct.
And is it correct that, again, those freestanding signs are limited to 30 square feet and 18 feet tall for a commercial business?
Yes, correct.
And if you look at the one exhibit that was provided by the applicant for the freestanding sign, and let me go back, the zoning hearing board in 2022 did grant a variance to permit a freestanding sign of, I apologize, I'm trying to find it here.
6 feet above grade.
Yeah, but the total square feet, I think, was something like 38 square feet. I think I distributed all my copies.
36.
36 square feet, which is 6 feet larger than actually what the code allows for.
Correct.
And here, that sign was never erected to the best of our knowledge. Is that correct?
Correct.
And here the proposed sign is at least 49 square feet, counting the Oak Point Plaza portion on the top.
Mhm. Is
The main part of the sign being the 5 foot wide by 8 foot high.
mhm.
It's 40 square feet, and then the Oak Point Plaza is 6 by 1.5 or 9 feet.
Correct.
And it would also be 17.5 feet high, where 16 foot high is permitted.
That's correct.
Any
No further follow-up.
any more questions for John before I go to Michelle? Michelle?
I have a question for Mr. McLean. Is that in 2022, which really doesn't pertain to, any of this, but the decision after the zoning board came out with a suggestion, was it between John McLean and the person who's coming for the variance, in agreement to what the signage was going to be that we proposed. After we came back, did you come into an agreement of what you were going to propose? And was she in agreement with the borough on the decision? I mean, I think that the zoning board came up with an idea and you had taken a break and came up with this suggestion and it was accepted between you and the tenant, correct? Or no? I may be wrong.
I'll ask Mr. Gould. I mean, he's testifying, but I mean, I don't recall who the representative of the applicant was at the time, whether it was Ms. Patel or not.
No, I believe it
Now,
was,
wait a minute. And another question was, in that same breath, and the signage back there, the zoning board had agreed on was what is in existence now. And back in 22, the same building signage was proposed before the borough and the tenant had agreed. Yes?
I believe so. The individual we spoke with that day was Don McCurry from McCurry Signs. That was the individual we spoke to that
Okay.
day. Well, I don't believe he's present today or part of this application.
So I don't believe it was Ms. Patel that was here, but I think it was the tenant, whoever was the operator of the beer store at that point in time. But I believe that after the applicant presented their case and the borough presented their case, there was a break. During the break, we had the opportunity to speak to the applicant, and we reached what we thought was an agreement, a stipulation that was then presented to the board. And the board obviously could accept or reject it, and we deliberated and agreed to the proposed stipulation, the agreement between the two parties.
Now, with the applicant right now and the freestanding sign on the exterior of the building, you're asking for the digital on that one, is that correct?
Correct.
And is there a height or anything else that's changing in that facade? I mean, on the freestanding sign?
That doesn't exist, does it?
No,
No,
it doesn't exist, it never was fulfilled.
Yeah.
Correct.
Doesn't exist.
Right,
Based on,
so,
based on the decision here, the monument sign shall be no higher than 6 feet. So we're talking a very different type of sign than what's
Okay.
proposed here today.
all right.
Anything else, Michelle?
Mm-mm.
All right, is there any other questions from the board to the borough? All right, I'm going to allow the applicant
Oh,
to
sorry.
rebut and close his case there. Okay?
Yeah, Mr. Gould, what do you consider the premise?
The premises is 301 West Baltimore Avenue in Clifton Heights, and the premise would be consisting, if you reference the screen, would be the shopping center here with the black ephes facade on the top.
That would be the 5 stores.
Correct, the 5 stores going from the intersection of Air Avenue and Baltimore Pike and Oak Avenue and Baltimore Pike.
According to the ordinance of Clifton Heights, which was written probably, how many years ago? Before you and I were born, or maybe before.
No, that changed.
Well, anyhow, a long time ago. It's only, you're allowed 30 square feet, that means for the whole premises, is that correct?
Correct.
So that for 5 stores, 35 into 30 would be 6 feet per store.
Correct.
And that would be a sign of 2 by
Be very small.
3. And who could see that?
Correct, it would be very visible to traffic.
It would not be visible. So there's something inherently wrong in the ordinance as it pertains to these particular type of premises.
People have come before for variances on that piece of property also that we adjusted. And the thing is, pardon me?
I understand that.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's quite all right.
That's all I have.
Okay. I think that's it. John? Nothing further. Being nothing from the borough, it's now time for public comment. I'm going to accept any public comment for the applicant. Is there anyone that wants to speak on behalf of the applicant? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment against the applicant? Seeing none, if I'm not mistaken, it's time for a vote. Do people want to stop back and decide this, or?
I think
I think we
we
need to
should
discuss
discuss
it.
it.
Discuss it? Yes,
Yeah.
let's go. Okay, we're going to recess. We're going to stop back and talk this over.
How are you?
Violated an area protected by the security system. The authorities have been notified. Be immediate.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't think she.
I understand.
And if necessary, I do have a report. Joseph. Michael. I think it's Eric, I believe. It's 2 hours. Yes. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Sure.
No.
Code enforcement officer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
As soon as you said it, I just asked a couple people, they said yes. They should, I hope they come back. I mean, all of these findings, you can't change it.
I know.
Warning, warning, you have violated an area protected by a security system. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning, you have violated an area protected by a security system. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning, you have violated an area protected by a security system. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately.
Oh, boy. Okay, can everybody, we have all the, mics on? All right.
Well, the applicant's not in.
Oh, not applicants are in here? Okay.
Oh, there they are. I'm sorry.
Okay, I got all right. Okay, we're back on the record. Our attorney, our solicitor is going to read the decision, and then the board will vote on it.
Thank you. The board has had the opportunity to deliberate, and at this time, the board is prepared to vote. On the two requests before the board, first was to add the two building signs of 54 square feet and 48 square feet respectively. The board consensus is to deny that, and I'm going to ask for a vote on that.
Okay, Michelle Hartman? Excuse me.
I vote, but like what our decision was, can you elaborate on what we've decided on about the structure? Or, I mean,
Well, I'm going to ask for, I'll ask for a motion from the board.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to deny the proposal as it was presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All right. Roll call vote. Michelle Hartel.
I vote in agreement with denying it.
Okay,
Denied.
Mr. Gantz.
Denied.
Chair says denied. Mr. Lombardo.
No.
And Ms. Trout?
Denied.
Denied. Okay. There's so long for a decision to be written up. I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Good evening, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Next one.
Is everybody prepared for second applicant?
Yep.
May come up and be seated.
Good evening, just wanted to give you this.
Thank you.
It's for everybody on the board.
All right, hold on. Then we gotta read your application. All right, so let's do that first.
Okay.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. All right.
It's yours.
I'm going to swear you in while I'm again. Raise your right hands, please. You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and the truth and nothing but the truth and help you God. State your names, please.
My name is Yusuf Asadi,
Spell that, please.
YOUSEF, last name is ASSAEDY,
I'm sorry, last name
ASSAEDY.
E-D-Y.
Yeah. I should have called it's
I can't hear you.
If you just push the button on that microphone, that'll amplify that. It'll turn green.
HSHRAFELSAIM.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, the second matter, go ahead, before the board is the applicant is Ashraf Al-Samet. The property is 400 North Springfield Road, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, 19018. The application is in connection with the proposed use of the property for a smoke shop, vapes, and exotic snacks and drinks, retail sales in the C1 Commercial District. Applicant requests variances from the following borough zoning ordinance sections. 1, 340-67C, which requires additional parking where a change in use mandates same. And 2, 340-68, which requires 2 parking spaces per 900 square feet of gross floor area for retail sales and service. Applicant requests such variances to allow for such use without providing the required parking. I'm now going to offer into the record and make part of the record the hearing notice, which I just read from, as well as the application, which is 2 pages. We have the original application, which is dated July 22nd of 2024. A letter from Mr. Gould dated August 20th, 2024, denying the original application. A letter from the applicant dated September 11th, 2024, and then a copy of the deed. Drawings of the property itself. And then a second letter from the applicant dated August 8th of 2024. We also have, to be made part of the record, pictures of the posted notice on the front of the building. There's 3 photographs of the posting on the building. I'll add all those documents to the record.
Okay. All right, at this time then, I'm going to allow the applicant to present his case.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Yusuf City, and this is Ashok Samad, the applicant. Here's my cousin. Came here to help me today with translation and all that. So, took the location on 400 North Springfield Road approximately 5 months ago, and I'm working to get the zoning for our business over there. And as days come by, like we've gotten some hardships, like township wanting certain things and all that, and we have provided.
Speak a little louder.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble, especially since the AC.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
As I said,
all right.
Okay, as I said, that we've had some hardships, getting everything in order. We've given everything that you guys asked for within the zone, for the zoning application. So what we got was a denial for the zoning due to needing 2 parking spaces for every 900 square feet. So for the parking on Oak Avenue, right there, it shows right there. There is a sign that's posted. It's on the 3rd paper I gave you guys just right now. Allows 1 hour parking. So it's for commercial parking overall. I'm assuming it's not for residential due to the limit. Also with that, we did get approval from the landlord. They're willing to give us 2 parking spots, and that letter is in front of you guys. It's on page 1. Yeah.
Where are them parking spaces at?
Excuse me?
Where are them 2 parking spaces
It's
at?
located behind the building on Oak Avenue, the entrance from Oak Avenue. It's right there. It's mouse over it right now. Also with that parking spot, there is parking on Springfield Road itself. It's meter parking as well. So we're just here in hopes to get a variance for a parking spot. And we also wanted to show you guys that we also did get confirmation over the 2 parking spots located in the back as well.
You realize that because you're right on the corner, you got the corner property, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't park right on the corner in front of your store. You have to be behind that line that's back further. You can't have cars parked there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also we have, sorry to cut you off. We also have the parking over there on Oak Avenue where the listed parking is. They have the sign over there as well.
Okay.
The 2 spots that you have, you said that your landlord designated for your, which is in the rear of the building, correct?
Yes, correct.
Now, will you be able to get your supplies in from your purveyors? Is that where you're hoping to get your supply? Is that why it's open to you? I mean, obviously, if you're having a convenience store and you're looking for parking, 2 spots aren't going to do it. The thing is I was wondering if it's to free up the front of your establishment so that your customers can come in, and therefore the two designated spots will be open for your purveyors to bring in your supplies.
But our supplies that do come in, it's gonna probably be like once every week. It's not gonna be that much, like, we're not opening like a supermarket, anything like that. It's just a small convenience store. We're gonna sell like, snacks, beverages. We're going to also have a fridge inside the store as well. We're not doing a full smoke shop. Like, we won't be selling any Delta products. We're not gonna be selling any Kratom products. It's just vapes and tobaccos. It's gonna be like, I would say like 20-30% of the store. And the rest is gonna be just snacks, convenience, groceries, and all that type of stuff.
Question, are you gonna make a smoking lounge in there?
No.
The 2 parking spots that you received, aren't they for the tenants in the apartments?
Yeah, so what we are also renting the upstairs unit as well. And so that's why we have those 2 parking spots.
What upstairs unit are you renting?
The apartment upstairs. It's also in Ashraf's name as well, the applicant's name.
Okay.
Yeah, we also have the lease, but.
I have the paper that you handed up in the beginning. It's 3 pages. I'm going to mark that you're offering this in for the board to look at and examine. I'm going to mark it as applicant 1.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to pass up?
No, I have nothing else. I think I give you everything there is. We just want to.
I have a question. Are you gonna be putting, the gaming machines in there?
Absolutely not. No, we stay away from those things, so. No gaming machines, no, it's against our religion, so we don't do any of those stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask Mr. McBlain a question? Is that the signs that are here that says 1 hour parking, they were erected for how long are they? Our police chief isn't here. I don't know how long it's been up there, the sign, and why it's been posted. Was there an issue of turning there? Also, is that, what was this, in the future, I don't know what the study was on Oak Avenue and Springfield Road pertaining to the middle school. So I don't know how congested it is that area had to be designated to be open. Do you have an answer for me?
I wouldn't have an answer, Ms. Hartel. I do plan on presenting Mr. Gould as a witness, and I think he'd be able to answer a lot of the questions regarding the parking, what's required, what's provided there, and what, if any, proposed changes are there going to be to North Oak Avenue as a result of the middle school development.
Well, the thing is I don't want to be stepping on anybody's toes that with the borough or with the middle school, if they've come to a decision on how that intersection is going to interact. So I don't know if we're jumping ahead of the game without having that information in front of us.
I would suggest perhaps if, after the applicant presents their testimony, Mr. Gould will be able to present testimony regarding what changes might take place or will take place there as a result of the middle school. And that may answer your questions. Be happy to, I would suggest, why don't you wait until after Mr. Gould and the applicants are finished, and then if you still have that question, we'll try to address it.
Yeah, I just don't know why that was erected, that sign was erected there, and how long it's been there and why. If it was something that the residents have requested on that street, on Oak Avenue, I don't know. I don't have enough information.
All right. The fence, or not the fence, the borough has their time to talk, and I think some of the answers will be, some of our questions will be answered. Does the applicant have any more testimony you'd like to give? Okay, nothing else?
Yeah, so, something else that he also told me to bring up was that the fact that we are planning to serve the community as well. We're not expecting a lot of people with cars to be coming up and parking up to the store and coming out. We're here to serve the community as a whole.
Okay.
For any groceries they need, any tobacco products they need, anything they need that we sell, we're there. And hopefully that works out, yeah.
All right,
One
okay.
question, is the second floor apartment rented?
Yes, it's rented.
Okay, so then what are you taking on the second floor?
Excuse me?
You were taking something on the second floor in the apartment?
I don't understand your question.
What are you taking? Okay,
Yeah, Shrub has rented the commercial unit downstairs and the apartment, which is apartment 2 upstairs as well.
Okay. Any more testimony or?
No,
Okay.
thank you so
And
much.
the rest,
I
okay.
have some questions.
What?
I would have some questions.
Okay, but I'm at that now. It's the borough's turn to talk. Okay, go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Again, my name is John McLean. I'm the solicitor for Clifton Heights Borough. The borough is appearing this evening and does wish to exercise its ability to have party status, and we are here in opposition to the application.
Okay.
For the applicant, the upstairs, are there 2 or 3 apartments upstairs?
2.
2 apartments, they're upstairs. And how big are each of those apartments?
I have the square footage right here, so it should be on the leash.
I guess I should ask, how many bedrooms are there?
Oh, there's 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms in each apartment?
For the first apartment that Shrub's renting, yes, there's 3 bedrooms.
Okay. And then for the second apartment?
I have, this, I do not know, sorry.
So you're taking the apartment as 3 bedrooms?
It doesn't, so the way the layout for the apartment is, there's 3 rooms. I'm assuming that the first room all the way up top was, it's a living room basically, and there's 2 bedrooms. So my apologies for mixing that
That's
up.
right. So it would be, so for the apartment that you're renting, it's 2 bedrooms plus a living room?
Yes,
And then there's a second apartment.
yes.
Is it the same size as your apartment?
I don't think so, I think it's smaller. Looking at the way the building is, I think it's smaller, yes.
Okay, so it may be a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, we don't know.
You know what, actually, I think it possibly is the same size because it's the apartment right located on top of the ice cream shop. So it looks about the same size, so I'm assuming, yes, it probably is.
Okay. So that would mean that there are 2 apartments, and both are 2 bedroom apartments?
Yes.
Okay. And then in the rear, do you know how many parking spaces exist in the rear behind the 400 building?
I think there's 5. Oh, Shrub's saying 6. Yeah, Shrub's saying 6.
And the 6 would include, as I understand it, the same owner owns the next property over, which you identified as the ice cream shop.
Yes, I think it's the same building.
Well,
it's on-
Well, Mr. Cool, clarify that, but it's where the ice cream shop is obviously a separate use, correct?
Yes.
And there are parking spots behind the ice cream shop.
Yeah, I think so.
Just behind 400, are you, from looking at the Google map picture of it, are you able to tell us how many parking spots are just behind 400?
I'm assuming 3.
4.
So you kind of got one under that tree, one where
Yes.
the black car is, and one where the
That's
empty space is.
the one that's literally right behind 400, yes.
Okay, so there's 3 off-street parking spots behind 400 Springfield.
Yes.
And you had submitted a drawing with your application, which even though it was entered into the record, I'll ask be marked as Exhibit Borough 1, which I'll show to you. Is that a drawing that you prepared or you had prepared for your use of the 400 Springfield property?
Yes.
Okay. And the dimensions, you'll agree with me, are set out for the first floor on the right section, and then you have a basement where it's underneath. They have those same dimensions, correct?
Mhm.
Right.
Mr. McLean, which page of the packet was that? Is it,
They weren't numbered, but it is if the board looks, it's the 8.5 by 11 page. It looks like it's marked design and development, the vision behind life. And in the corner, it's A, perhaps 1.1.
okay.
Okay.
It looks like it's prepared by Kevin Technology 3000 Inc. Is that your architect or engineer?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions for the applicant.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. McLean before I move on? Okay, I'll give you time to rebut and a little closing statement for the applicant.
So, according to you guys for the denial for the variance for parking, that's why we came here today for the possibly if you could give us a parking spot outside. And also with that, we did give you a letter from the landlord herself affirming that she will give us 2 parking spots. And that's what you guys are asking from us. And I hope that's enough for you guys to make up your minds on the issue that we have in hand.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Mr. McLean, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I would call John Gould, the zoning officer, as a witness.
Mhm.
You swear from the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Gould, what is your position with the Borough of Clifton Heights?
A zoning official and chief code enforcement officer,
How long have you had those positions?
approximately 7 years.
And in the course of your duties, have you had the ability in the past, or are you familiar with the property at 400 North Springfield Road?
Yes, I am.
And have you previously inspected the property and/or looked at permits or approved use and occupancy permits for the property?
Yes, all of those items.
Is it currently being used for anything?
Yes, currently, according to their annual rental license application, we have 2 storefronts, 5 apartments, and 17 garages for 400 and 402 North Springfield Road.
So, but that's the same owner owns all of those properties?
Yes, correct.
But I'll show you. What I'll ask as marked as exhibit Borough 2. I'll show you what's marked as Exhibit Borough 2 and tell you that that's a public document from the Delaware County Board of Assessment Appeals, which shows the Delaware County tax record for this property as well as the tax map. Are you able to take a look at that?
Yes, sir.
And that shows that the 400 Springfield Road property is a separate and distinct property from the 402 or the other parking areas that you described.
Yes, correct.
So even though the one owner, one entity owns actually 3 separate properties in that area.
Yes,
And all of those properties would be required to conform to the zoning, including the parking requirements, correct?
that is correct.
So for the 400 North Springfield Road, is that occupied at this point in time?
Yes, 400 North Springfield Road is, the 4 residential units are occupied at this point.
Okay. The retail or what's proposed to be the retail shop or the first floor in the basement, are they occupied at this point in time?
They're currently not occupied.
from your records and your experience dealing with this property, what was the last use of the commercial part of the 400 North Springfield Road?
Sure. The last use was for a home healthcare agency professional office, and that was London Home Healthcare.
And prior to that, are you aware of what the use previous to that was?
Yes, previously it was an agency that did work with breast cancer patients.
And it was an office where they brought them in and they made wigs or something for them.
Correct, it was a support office for cancer patients.
And prior to that, do you know what the use was for this commercial part of 400 North Springfield?
That I do not.
Are you familiar that for many years, that this was an office for the AFL-CIO? It was a professional office for a union that was there.
I was not aware of that.
Okay, so that was before your
Before
time.
my time.
Okay. But at least the last two uses prior to this were as professional offices.
Correct.
So for professional offices, do you have your zoning code there?
I do not have it in front of me.
Further requirements for parking. So if you take a look at the zoning code, are you able to tell the board what parking requirements are for the professional, what the parking requirements were for the professional office that was there?
Yes, for professional office, it's 1 per 200 square feet of net floor space.
And were you able to estimate or determine what the net square floor space was for the use as professional office?
Yes, I believe that was approximately approximately 1,800 square feet.
I'm just curious where you're getting that calculation, 1,800, because
I might be
that
reading up-
exceeds the gross.
Yeah, and this is a very small print here I'm looking at. So unfortunately, I'm unable to make out the number
Okay.
there.
Did you previously indicate to me that you thought that the net square foot area was 1,000 square feet conservatively?
Yes, for the first floor storage one.
And so that would have required 5 parking spaces for the commercial portion of the business.
Correct.
So, and in addition to the 5 parking spaces for the commercial part of the business, how many would be required for the residential portion of the property?
So each residential unit, whether it's a 1 bedroom or an efficiency, would require 1 parking space. For 2 bedrooms, it would be 2 per dwelling unit, and for 3 bedrooms, it would be 3 per dwelling unit.
So we can rely on the applicant's testimony. There are 2 apartments that are 2 bedrooms each in the upstairs. So that would require an additional 4 parking spaces.
That's correct.
So for the previous use, it required 9 parking spaces, correct?
Correct.
And the section of our zoning ordinance that talks about off-street parking requirements indicates that if you go from a use that requires less parking spaces to a use that requires more parking spaces, you're then required to conform.
Yes, correct.
So if they went from a professional office to a professional office, well, first of all, there's not 9 off-street parking spaces at this property, correct?
Correct.
As we heard the applicant, do you disagree that there are 3 off-street parking spaces at this property?
I agree.
Yeah. So they were, the previous use was a non-conforming use.
Correct.
So here, they would be able to, if it was a professional office or some other use that required less parking, they would, even though they don't have 9 spaces, they would be able to continue with that use.
Correct, provided the use did not require more parking.
But the reason we're here is because under the zoning ordinance, if you go from a use to a different use that requires more parking, now you're required to conform.
Correct.
So here, what would we classify it as, the use under, the proposed use under the zoning ordinance?
It would come under retail sales.
And what is required for retail sales?
Retail sales require 2 per 900 square feet of gross floor area.
I want to walk you through Exhibit B1 because I don't know that we've heard or it wasn't testified to what the gross floor area was. But, and I know it's small, but is it correct that the gross floor area, here we have a building where it's a rectangle plus we've got some addition, some triangular addition to it, right?
Correct.
So here we have the area that is 64. I believe it's 20 feet in the front and 20 in the rear width by 64. If you calculate those that were provided.
Approximately 1,200 square feet.
Well, 21 by 64 would be, 1,344 square feet, correct?
Correct.
And then if you add on the triangular piece, which is 42 times 16, which you would then divide by 2 because it's a triangle, that would be an additional 336 square feet.
Correct.
So that gives us a total on one floor, gross floor area of 1,680 square feet.
Correct.
And then here we've got the basement, which would that be included in the gross floor area?
Yes, as it has steps that communicate to it.
So that would
I'm
be,
sorry, yes.
Yes, as it has stairs that communicate between the two floors.
and so the basement area doesn't have that extra piece of it. It just has what we did in the first calculation.
Correct.
So that would be an additional 1,344 square feet.
Correct.
So that gives us just over 2,000 gross square feet for the commercial use.
Correct.
And based upon that, how many parking spaces would be required?
Essentially, we're looking at 7 parking spaces according to my math.
So that would be in excess of what was required for the retail.
Correct.
And that's the reason that we're here today, correct?
Correct.
So for this particular property, they need additional parking compared to what it was for the retail use, compared to what it was for the professional office use.
That's correct.
And so that would be, so now with 7 spaces required for the commercial use and 4 required for the residential use, as you testified to before, 2 bedrooms apartment needs 4 spaces.
Correct.
So now we need 11 parking spaces,
That's correct.
and the property has 3.
3. Correct.
So we're aggravating the parking at this point for the property based on the proposed use.
That is correct.
I want to just ask you about, and the applicant pointed out that this is located on Oak Avenue and Springfield Road. There's off-street parking there. The off-street, is there off-street parking in front of either the Springfield Road portion of the commercial premises or the Oak Avenue portion of the premises?
There is. The corner would prevent 25 feet on each side from being used, but yes, there are spots on the frontage of both properties.
Well, but if you look at the Google Earth photo that you have up on the screen, there's and standing and looking where you have the cursor now. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, a little too far there.
So where the stop bar is, or where the stop stripe is, no parking is permitted past that point, correct?
That's correct.
So neither in front of the ice cream store or in front of the 400 North Springfield, is there any on-street parking permitted?
There is not.
And if you go around the corner now, again, I'm sorry, can you just swing it? There you go. Looking at the picture where you're standing out there taking pictures.
Correct.
We have a fire hydrant directly in front of the property at 400 North Springfield on the Oak Avenue side. Is that right?
That is correct.
And so no parking is permitted within some distance of the fire hydrant, correct?
Correct.
And where your emergency management vehicle is parked, is parking permitted in that area?
Yes, 1 hour parking is permitted in that area.
Now,
For the posted
are you
signs.
aware of whether or not there currently is a land development being carried out to construct a school in this area?
Yes, there is.
And are you familiar generally with the plans for that school?
I am.
And are you familiar with the proposed traffic plans?
I am.
And are you aware of whether or not the configuration of North Oak Avenue before you get to Springfield is going to change in the near future as that school is built?
Yes, it will, to accommodate turning lanes and the increased traffic that the school will bring to the neighborhood.
Is it correct that traveling north on North Oak Avenue, the proposed traffic plan would require a left-hand turn lane and then a right turn lane, traveling north, a left-hand turn lane and then a straight and right-hand turn lane?
That's correct.
So where there's one lane currently, the plan would expand it out that there would be 2 lanes.
Correct.
And then there would be a travel lane coming south.
Yes, that's correct.
And to accommodate this extra space, do you know whether or not PennDOT, the plan eliminates parking on street in that area?
It does.
And similarly, on Springfield Road, do you know whether or not the traffic plan, is it correct that the traffic plan, as you have traffic coming eastbound, I guess, on North Springfield Road, that what is currently 1 lane will be turned into 2 lanes in that area
That is correct.
to accommodate a left-hand turn lane and a straight and right turn lane?
That is correct.
Again, in those areas, everything is being condensed. And will there be will there be on-street parking permitted in the area in front of 400 North Springfield Road?
There will not be.
So the on-street, whereas currently there is only a bit of on-street parking a little bit south on Oak Avenue on the street in front of this premises. After the plans after the highway occupancy permit is put into effect, there will be no on-street parking as permitted by PennDOT in front of 400 North Oak or North Springfield Road.
That is my understanding.
Question.
Yeah.
There's no parking in front of 400. What about all those other, is there going to be parking in front of the other stores? From like Seminara's, Morello's? I mean, are they going to be eliminated also?
The borough is working very hard to try to keep those spots. We actually had a meeting with PennDOT today, so we're still in the process of preserving that parking.
Now, the thing,
Well,
another question.
I can say, Ms. Hartel, again, and I'm not testifying, but I can tell you that the land development plans and the highway occupancy permit plan will have parking where it currently exists. So you see in that photo a Volkswagen or you see where that last.
But this is all public this is all public. These aren't designated for those established businesses. Am I correct about that? This is public parking.
Correct.
So any of their customers can park there. The question I'm asking is that, are they allowed to open their business without us granting them, because you can't park there and they don't have that parking space, are they able to open their business?
Well, I think
That's my question.
Yeah, the point of the hearing would be, in order to operate a retail store there, they would need to conform to the required parking. They're
But how
asking.
about that store right there, the ice cream place? Do they, did they open it and they don't, where's their parking in front of their store? That's all,
Yeah, well, again, and I went through with Mr. Gould, just as an explanation there, that when the use changes, as long as the use changes to something that requires the same or less parking, they may keep the parking that they have, even though it is non-conforming.
But that ice cream place, it didn't change its use. It's still a commercial property. It's not a professional building. So why, and they're owned by the same, like, I'm just trying to figure out why their professional is different than the commercial, which is right next to them, and that commercial property is allowed there, and the one on the corner is not going to be allowed to.
Well, again, the issue is whether or not when a use changes, when a property changes its use, does it change it to a use that requires more parking or the same or less parking? If they change it to the same or less parking, then they can continue to operate the way it was, even though they're not conforming. So as I had Mr. Gould testify to, if the applicants were seeking to open a professional office, which this had been, then they would be permitted to open the professional office because it's the same or less parking.
And when does this, when did it revert back to professional? I mean, I know that it was vacant for a long time, as it wasn't professional, it was retail, and it changed. I don't know when it got turned over to being professional. I don't know.
Well, again, there's no testimony to that, but the testimony that has been presented is that the immediate use prior to this was as a professional office for the home healthcare agency. And the use immediately prior to that was the office where they had the people come in and order wigs for the cancer patients. And, you know, Ms. Hartel, you can certainly use your judgment as a member of the board. You've been a lifelong resident here, but there's been no testimony that there was retail in that.
When I was a young boy, it was a shoe store, but that was 40 years ago.
And I can't answer to that. Like I said, I'm aware that for a long time it was AFL-CIO offices. You know, but whenever the zoning ordinance changed, you were a member of council, you have better information than I, you know, as to why the law would be the way it is. But this is what we have today.
And to further answer the question about the ice box next door, the previous use of that, it was Vibe Nutrition, which served smoothies and shakes. So it was a similar use. They did not change to a use that would require more parking.
Okay.
So as just a further example, I know further up the street, there's an eye doctor office. So if the eye doctor office changed, you know, that may, you know, depending on what they changed it to, you know, that may require additional parking. State Farm office, you know, if that changes to a retail use from a professional office, that would require additional parking.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to present, John, and rebuttal?
I forgot where I was.
I'm sorry.
I
think you were going over parking spaces and.
Yeah, I just, and I apologize if I repeat myself. So we established that the requirement would be for 11 parking spaces, and there is existing 3.
Correct.
And then we also, I think, established that as a result of the land development plans and PennDOT's changes to the traffic patterns in this area because of the construction of the middle school, that all of the parking on street in front of 400 Springfield will not be permitted.
Correct.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions for John?
No. I have a question.
Yes.
Talked about with the changes in the traffic patterns and the parking going up Oak Avenue. I know it's deemed 1 hour parking right now, but that's going away because of the lanes. If say the school wasn't being built and that stayed that way, would that give them parking then, since there would still be existing on-street parking?
The zoning code requires off-street parking, so it would not count for the required off-street parking.
That wouldn't be required.
Right.
Okay.
And we obviously look at, I mean, we try to be fair with businesses.
No, and
There's a ton of.
Because my question was, like, does PennDOT's plan, is that public, where someone who would be attempting to open a business would be then blindsided by something that was being worked on but not public? And that, to me, would be not in the best interest of the person trying to
Wasn't
move into,
disclosed.
wasn't disclosed. So I'm just trying to play that side just to see if something was,
Well, I don't think the applicant can certainly say whether or not, I mean, certainly, you get into some sophisticated land development and planning. I mean, what is in a highway occupancy permit for a large development like that, isn't, something that you just stumble across on the internet. But I think the purpose is to point out to the board that, if the argument from the applicant is that there is, hey, I've got plenty of on-street parking, even though I don't have sufficient off-street parking, that's really not going to be the case in the future because the parking in this area is going to be restricted because of the school development. I did want to, I guess, just follow up and ask a couple additional questions that I didn't ask Mr. Gould. And in regards to this type of specific use of a vape shop, does the borough have other vape shops existent at this point in time that are permitted?
Yes, we do.
And do you know how many there are?
5 or 6.
And we have one on Springfield Road, just in the same 400 block. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is there off-street parking for that business use?
Yes, there is. They have parking out front of the business across the street.
And then is there one or more than one located on Baltimore Avenue?
Correct. There's one at 110 West Baltimore Avenue, which is, I'll call that the Furio Shopping Center, which is located in a strip mall, which does have parking. The Liberty gas station next door also sells tobacco products, and they do have a parking lot with all-street parking. The next one would be located on East Baltimore and South Diamond Street, which also has parking off, a private parking lot off of South Diamond Street.
Are there any further? There formerly was, or I don't know if it still exists, a vape shop at 301.
Correct, and that is also in a strip shopping center with a parking lot.
So the other retail vape shops that we do all have off-street parking.
Correct.
No further questions.
No further questions? Okay. And that closes the rebuttal from the borough. So now open it up to public comment. This would be public comment for the applicant.
Oh,
we got another question?
I think the applicant had it.
What?
I just have a quick question. So when you were speaking about the square footage, of the store itself, would you guys consider the basement as a retail, even though we won't use it whatsoever? It will not be used, no customers can go down there, so why would it be considered a retail, part of the retail? Because if you look at the numbers on the square footage for the store, we're at.
Yeah, that's a question for Mr. Gould.
Yeah. That would be, I'm not qualified to
Sorry,
answer
so,
that. Okay.
Mr. Gould.
So typically, if the space underneath, if there was no steps to get to it, it would not be considered part of your space. In this case, there is a stairwell that goes downstairs, so it could be used for dry storage and office, could be used as part of it.
Why would we need additional parking spots just for the basement? Because of the square footage of the basement. Customers we're only gonna be using mostly 900, like under 900 square feet, which is highlighted right here, which is the store square footage is 892. And according to him, that we have, if there won't be a change in the variance for parking, if it's less or the equal amount of parking spots needed associated with the office space, right?
I don't know if I follow your question there.
So he said that, I'm so sorry.
John
Attorney, yes. Lawyer. I'm so sorry about that. So according to him, according to Mr. McLean, that we need either less parking or the same amount of parking as it was for the professional office, right? So according to his math, I'm not trying to be like technical over here, but we need less parking spots than what he's proposing. If you do the math, even with.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, ask Mr. Gould a couple of questions, I guess. to explain
Now, I'm
that.
going to give you time to rebut there.
Okay.
I did you a favor by letting you talk, but I got to let John talk after
Of course,
you.
of course.
Okay, all right.
Well, like I said, I'll address it. So the definitions for the number of parking spaces that are required for retail, it's not based on the retail space. Like, for instance, if they only have 250 feet of retail space in their store, that's what they choose to do. That's not what the parking is based on.
Correct.
Can you read again from the zoning ordinance what the parking is based upon?
2 per 900 square feet of gross floor area.
Gross floor area. And so that's different than the professional office, which was net floor area.
Correct. 1 per 200 square feet of net floor area.
So the net floor area would be more akin to what is actually being used versus gross floor area is what exists,
What's
what they
available.
potentially could use for, like you said, for inventory, for office space, for whatever it might be.
That's correct.
And that's just the way that the zoning ordinance exists.
That's the way it's written, correct.
Okay. Now, is this it? I'm ready to close it and go, move on.
He wants to speak.
One more?
I mean, I
Okay.
want to finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, you can finish, but then John's gonna have a
No
chance to
problem.
talk. Okay.
I have no problem.
All right, let me know when you're finished.
Okay.
All right.
So the first floor area, you said how many parking spots do we need for that if it was a professional office?
So I think the question needs to be directed to Mr. Gould, who's the
Oh,
witness.
Mr. Gold,
Yeah.
so how, for the professional office, the first floor, what is considered the amount of parking spots you need for the first floor?
1 per 200 square feet of net floor.
And can we both agree that the square footage for the first floor is 1,400? 1,400, yeah, 1,431 square feet.
Your eyes are better than mine, but that appears to be correct.
So you need 7 parking spots, spaces for that.
We need
7 parking spaces for that? For, according to 200 square feet per? So
Correct.
1,400 divided by 7,
Correct.
1,400 divided by 200 is 7 parking spaces. So for us, for the first floor, we're looking at 2 parking spaces for upstairs. And then even if we combined it with the basement as well, which is approximately almost the same size, not the same size, it's probably smaller. Looking at 2, 2, 4, and I think that's 6 parking spots. So I do have less or equal to the parking, the requirements I need. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, you've got it.
I'm
All
just gonna
right.
follow
Okay.
up. I don't,
All right.
I'll follow up with that because I don't, again, Mr. Gould, if there's 1,680,
It's not 1,680, I'm sorry, but it's
so
not.
where,
Here you go.
with all due respect to the board, there's been no testimony presented from him, and I went through this with Mr. Gould. I mean, if he can present professional, if he can present somehow what it is, but based upon the exhibit that's B1 and the dimensions that are on there, I had asked Mr. Gould to calculate that.
Mhm.
So with the 1,680 square foot on the main floor and the 1,344 square feet on the basement, that comes to just over 2,000 square feet.
Correct.
And so how many parking spaces would be required for just over 2,000 square feet of gross floor area?
7.
7, and that's what you testified to previously. And then we need 4 for upstairs, 2 for each 2-bedroom apartment, which is 11 parking spaces. And how many parking spaces do they have?
3, I believe.
No further questions.
Okay, no further questions. All right, does the board have any questions? All right, I'm gonna.
I
Yes.
have a question.
Okay.
To John, and John, is that with the proposal of, and this is before you, whoever goes into that property, even if they're not there or whoever, this is going to affect that intersection, Oak Avenue and Springfield, from the traffic, what they're proposing with the school district and traffic control is proposing. So whoever goes in there is going to lose those, the parking spaces on Oak Avenue and Springfield Road anyway, correct?
That's correct. The zoning code only takes into consideration off-street parking. The zoning code does not take on-street parking into consideration.
So in other words, the off-street parking doesn't count towards what is required.
It's
Right.
considered public.
Right.
It's considered a public parking
Right.
spot, so it couldn't be guaranteed for that use.
Correct. Okay.
All right. Is there any other questions from the board before I move on? Okay, we're now going to have public comment for the applicant. Being I see none, is there any public comment against the applicant? Okay, I have a few. I'll start with our council president.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Briss. I am the council president. I also live at 319 Austin Drive, right around the corner from the refrigerator's store. Please spell your last name, please. B is in boy, R is in Robert, I, B is in David, D is in David, E is in Edward, S is in Sam. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. So I have a few concerns. Some of those concerns is the assumption that the on-street parking is going to make up for any lack of off-street parking. And my concerns are with the school construction, a lot of effort was made to preserve parking for residents on Oak Avenue. So the parking is maxed out for residential parking on Oak. The other side is the parking for the businesses on Springfield Road. It's preserved for the traffic as is versus any new additional traffic that would be added. So there's really not the capacity, in my opinion, for there to be additional in and out traffic. The other side of it is there's two schools less than a block away. And with the merchandise being sold, I have concerns about there being two schools in such a close proximity to this business. The viability and sustainability of the business, I have concerns about that as well.
What's your concern about the business?
Well, we have a smoke shop 250 feet away from where they're proposing to open their business. We have Mr. Puff at 102 East Baltimore Avenue, which is a half a mile from this location.
But your concern about the business is it bringing neighborhood,
My concern is that the vape products tend to be attractive to younger consumers. And we've had issues within the borough of
with the other
underage
shops?
people.
With the other shops you've had issues with?
My understanding is that there have been issues with children acquiring these products.
In our borough?
In our borough.
Okay.
So, but there's 5 shops within less than a mile of this, and that does not include the gas stations that also sell these products. So is this business even sustainable because of all of the competition? I mean, I know that consumer convenience is something that is important, but that's pretty overkill with the convenience. So those are my concerns that I'd like the board to continue to consider. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Just raise your hand again. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm and testimony you have already given us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak against the application? State your name and address.
Cheryl Baylor, 256 Prospect Avenue, Clifton Heights,
You're gonna
Pennsylvania.
have to be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Spell your last name, please.
B as in Bravo, Aylor.
Thank you.
At the risk of being redundant, I agree wholeheartedly with the speaker prior to mine. I don't see where this business can be beneficial for our community. I mean, we all worked and fought very hard for the state-of-the-art school that we're going to have. And then across the street from that, we're gonna put this duplicate, I'll be kind and say duplicate, business that we already have more than enough of. And for our children to be leaving their school daily and walking past these schools. I understand that it's a parent's responsibility to teach their children right from wrong, but we all know we are not the only influence on our children. And I think this brings our community down, and I think there's enough going on that we have to fight against without adding to it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? State your name and address and then get sworn in.
Kathy Cleary. Is this on? Kathy Cleary, 325 North Oak Avenue, Clifton Heights.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Is that Kathy with a C or K?
Okay.
Spell your last name.
Cleary. My concern is parking, which is already a disaster. I'm on Oak Avenue, but on the other side of Springfield Rd. Now, there's no parking there either because people from the stores, they have to park there. People from the apartments park there. Up there, yeah. Now, the poor people on Revere Road, they all lost their parking because of the school. It was all taken away. Because they parked behind their house and that was all plowed away. It wasn't their property. So now they all have to park out there on Oak Avenue. Where's all these cars gonna go? I mean, there is no more room. Now in the daytime, yeah, some opens up because people are coming and going from the stores. But come night, come the weekends, forget it. I mean, you can park 4 blocks away. It's ridiculous. So I can't see where we can give anybody any more parking. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak against the application? State your name and address and get sworn in.
John Gorman, 409 North Oak Avenue, Clifton Heights.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Help you God. Geo Martin, Leanne.
Yes. I am also the 4th Ward Councilman with Mrs. Brittis. We're not against new businesses trying to open up. And I believe Mr. Humphries is well aware of the extensive work by the borough manager and council to resolve the parking issues along with John and JP Kelly. And it's taken a lot of work to get where we are and what we're going to be accepting. And I just don't see where that's going to fit in. You know, that's, yes, it could draw crowds, who knows? But the parking is not sustainable for that. Also, as has been said, schools on either side of it. The kids, they're under great influence, and a lot of it's not good. As somebody that works in the school district, I see it every day. They don't need any more poor influence in their lives. They need positive influence. And I don't believe a shop like that is going to provide positive influence. I know these gentlemen referred to religious beliefs and things like that, but most kids today, in those neighborhoods up there, they don't understand difference in religions. They just know what their parents have taught them over the years. And I respect, all views of all religions, but it's not going to be a viable business for that neighborhood. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Being none, use 1, 2 meet. Caucus.
It would be appropriate to close the record at this time.
We're gonna have to take the caucus, and we'll be back.
Warning, you have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, you have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately.
I showed up last time. I told Adam the next morning I came in, I was just bunch with my friend. He comes in, we have a chair. Oh my God. On top of my head, she's playing with her microphone. I'm sitting there. Listen, she's on top of me. Here I am, big gunshot lawyer, I'm in the kiddie chair. I'm like, trying to take notes on that thing. I got Amy, leaning over the back of me. Oh my God, yeah, that was. Yeah. I didn't know. I mean, I knew the brother, but I didn't realize he was just sitting there. I didn't even realize that was him. I mean, I was told that he had himself already, so I didn't expect it. But I didn't even say it because I was trying to sit down. Sitting in this chair around. Then this chair around, Oh, gosh. I mean, they're not professionals, you know, especially your measurements. You had a, right? So you took rough measurements, you wanted the engineer to just say that. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, well, I took the measurements. I don't know how good it was. They probably were no good. You know, they weren't, those measurements were no good. I mean, he's, they have a whole, that's what I'm told, they have a whole computer software program with codes and formulas, and put it in. He's an old time guy. He knows what he's doing, you know, he shows up, he knows what he's doing, looks at it. That's just for the fun. The hell I did.
You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Proceed immediately. Warning. You have violated an area protected by a security system. The authorities have been notified. Proceed immediately.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
And everybody wondered where the robot from Lost in Space went to. Right there. Warning. All right. You got my thoughts. Okay, we're back in session. I'll entertain a motion on the application.
Denied.
I need a second.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call vote. Ms. Hartel,
Denied.
Mr. Gantz.
Denied.
Chair votes get denied. Mr. Lombardo
Denied.
and Mrs. Trout.
Denied.
Okay. A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
All right.